the term making love is a good example of this, right? Because when you think about
Which,
love...
by the way, he is a new film. Is it Patreon supporters to get it soon?
And then it will eventually come out for everybody else. It's
you
called
filmed,
Making Love.
Yeah, it's called Making Love, but can you talk about the title? Because it's not what people would often think about.
Yes, yeah. There's also a commentary called A Guide to Making Love, if you want to watch that. So
we'll Sean, put a link to A Guide to Making Love in the show notes, and you can find all this at his website as well, peterrollins.com.
If you put that in your tags, you'll definitely get a lot more listeners. A lot of more people will search. I realize a lot of people are searching for guides to making love, as I discovered.
This isn't at all what I thought it was.
Yeah, I know. They're very disappointed. The making love, the phrase is two people don't make love, basically, right? We think that two people make love, but actually you need a third person to make love. Traditionally.
I told you you've been doing it wrong.
Yeah. This is the mistake you've been making.
And I've been telling Rebecca this every day.
Oh my
Listen,
God.
if you want to give me a call sometime, that's fine. I'll keep my calendar open.
He loves Irish accents.
Yeah.
It's not going to work out.
I practice it every day. So, so basically, like the old school idea was you would go on a date and you'd have a chaperone with you, right? And today we think the role of the chaperone is to stop people doing something untoward. But actually, the original role of the chaperone was to get you to start fantasizing about what you could do if the chaperone wasn't there to stop it. So the chaperone was making love, right?
So Ryan, you went through this.
That's great.
You grew up Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, it just totally reminded me of that. Where growing up, they encourage a chaperone on dates because they don't want the kids to fornicate or whatever. Mm-hmm. So they've got a chaperone there to basically. Because they're not going to start making love in front of this third person. But I totally agree with you. It's like the chaperone. What it's doing is it's putting a restriction.
Yeah.
And when you put restrictions on things, it just makes you want to do them even more. Yeah.
Generate stuff. I mean, here's a great example. In America, you guys created a technology to help young people have sex, and I'm interested in why you did that in the 20th century in a society that's very permissive. Basically, it's a ring that you put on your finger, and it's basically then stops you from having sex. So you basically put it on, it says, I will not have sex until I'm married, right? So what that does is it then makes sex really exciting. So then you're more likely to have sex. And I'm like, oh, of course the technology would be invented here, because whenever there's no prohibition, sex becomes boring. If you don't want your kids to have sex, talk about it all the time. Oh, what did you do? Where did she touch you? Where did he touch you? Here's a diagram. Can you show me? If you do that, your kids aren't going to have sex until
they're late tonight.
Yeah. That's going to put them off for life.
Yeah.
So there's a certain sense in which prohibition and obstacle generates something exciting. And when people self-sabotage, it's often because they're frantically and in an unhealthy way trying to bring obstacle back into existence. That's why a lot of people have affairs. If you take, I know a couple who had an affair, call them Jack and Jill. I think I talked about this in the Rob Bell podcast as well, but basically they were married for a lot of years and the sexual desire had diminished. And they were friends but nothing else. And then he ended up having an affair with somebody else, right? A very brief affair. It was found out. She, the wife, was very upset. He was kind of going like, yeah, well, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. So he got ready to move out. So there you have an example where he's having an affair and he's saying to the woman, if only I wasn't married, we could be together, right? If only I didn't have this and that. Now it's the opportunity. If you're an alien from outer space, you'd be like, oh, they're going to break up. She doesn't like the husband doesn't really like the wife. He wants to be with Snow White color, right? But a week later, Snow White's out of the picture and the husband and the wife are sleeping together again, still annoyed with each other, but having sex and planning a holiday. Now, why is that? Well, partly because in this example, the guy is an obsessive neurotic and the woman's acting as hysteric neurotic. So for an obsessive, the only way to keep desire going is you desire what you don't have. So he was desiring Snow White because he couldn't have her. It's called the object of desire is what you want, and the object cause of desire is what makes you want it, right? So he can't be with Snow White, the object of his desire, because of his relationship. As soon as the relationship ends and he can be with Snow White, he no longer desires her. And then for the woman, she can only desire what is under threat of being taken away. So for her, the object of desire is her husband, the object cause of desire is Snow White. So what happens is this couple is unconsciously, frantically trying to find a way to get their desire going again. And this is the way that it's, and of course the truth is this has happened about 3 or 4 times, right? This is very common. Now, consciously, it's all a mess, but unconsciously, they're all trying to keep desire alive, because desire is what makes us human. Now, of course, there's healthier ways. It motivates us. There are healthier ways to do this, but you've got to understand that, for example, some people you go like, you're very jealous, you shouldn't be jealous. But some people can only love when they're jealous. They can only desire what they're jealous of. So if you got rid of the jealousy, you'd get rid of the desire. All of this is just to say that if you don't find a healthy way of enjoying struggle, if you don't find a healthy way of having antagonism in your relationship, you will find unhealthy ways of expressing that struggle and that antagonism. And the unhealthy ways will destroy you.
I love that.